and gentlemen.
When I was 12 years old, my mother, she was killed in a car accident. She was an alcoholic, and alcohol destroyed her life. After that, me and my 3 siblings were shipped off to Atlanta to live with my Aunt Linda. And she was a strict disciplinarian. I hated it, so I acted out until she sent me back to live with my grandpa, LC, when I was 15. One day, he sat me down on the couch to tell me a story about how miracles began early in my life. He said, "Michael, when you were about 6 months old, your mama and your daddy, they got into a big old fight. And your daddy went as far as to put a gun to your mother's head. And then there was a knock at the door. So he set the gun down and walked over to the door to see who it was. And it was your neighbors bringing you home. So he grabbed you from the neighbors, turned around, and your mother had that rifle pointed right at him. So he put you up like a shield, thinking that she wouldn't shoot. And that's when the first shot went off, and the second, and the third. And your dad dropped you and ran out of the house. You had been shot. Soon, the ambulance and the police arrived and took you to the hospital, and your mother, she went to prison. But when you got to the hospital, Michael, the doctors were astonished because you had been shot by a .22 caliber rifle, and those bullets are known for going into the body and bouncing off of organs and usually killing their victims. But in your case, the doctor said it was a miracle, Michael. The bullet went straight through. And I'm telling you this, son, because lately you've been getting in trouble. And I want you to know that God has left you here for a purpose. And your life has value. And if you live life like it's a gift, the Lord will bless you. After that, my grandfather also told me that my mother, after 9 months, she was let out of prison on good behavior. She had been a U of M attendant and also an Army veteran. And me, at 13 months old, I was released from the hospital to my great-grandmother, Fannie Lou Martin. Oh yeah, and my mom and dad, they got back together again and had my younger brother, Christopher. But this message that my granddad told me, it took a while to sink in. I was about 18 years old, and I didn't feel like I had anything to live for. So I decided to become a father. And at 19, my son was born. So I started to live my life like it had value. I got my first job doing direct sales, and I found out that not only drug dealers and entertainers make good money, but if you're a good business person, you can make good money too. So I changed the way that I dressed, the way that I talked, and even the people that I hung around. And by the time I was 22 years old, I was in the top 1% of sales at the company I worked for. So one day I was on my way to work when I was 22 on a sunny May morning when the second miracle in my life happened. The bus was about to arrive and there was a woman standing there. So I told her, "Ma'am, you can go first." And all of a sudden, there was a scramble and then a scream. And when I looked up, coming right for me was a big white Ford van. And I tried to get out of the way, but then bam, everything went black. And when I woke up, the same lady that I let go before me was standing over me, praying, "Lord, just let this young man be okay." Soon the ambulance rushed me to the hospital, and the doctors began performing surgery on my legs and on my head. And when I woke up from my operation, my stepdad was standing right there. He said, "Son, you are truly blessed. The doctor said if you would have been over just 2 more inches, you probably wouldn't have made it." After being in the hospital for about 3 days, I woke up one morning and I coughed. And a big glob of red blood came up. And it scared me. So I told my doctor, and he ran some tests on me and came back and said, "Mr. Irving, we've discovered that you have a blood clot in your lungs. This can be a dangerous condition, but we're going to try to treat it with medicine, and if we can't, we'll have to perform surgery." I was terrified. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I have a son. I don't want to die. So I did the only thing I knew I could do. When the problem is too big for me, I gave it to God. And I began to pray. And about 10 days later, the doctor came into the room and said, "Mr. Irving, we have good news. We've been able to resolve your blood clot, and you'll be going home soon." I was elated. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to get to see my son grow up. And at that moment, I decided to honor my father. And ever since then, our relationship has been closer than ever. And over the next several years, my life has been great. Besides some occasional pain and going to see the physical therapist a few times a week, everything has been smooth. I'm an entrepreneur, and I love what I do. About 2 months ago, there I was at the gym with my younger brother, Christopher, when he said, "Bro, my leg is killing me, man. I don't know what I did to it." And I looked at it and it was swollen. I said, "Chris, yeah, you should probably go and get that checked out." "All right, bro, yeah, in the next few days, if it's still hurting, I'm going to get it checked out." Fast forward 2 days, there we are, leaving the gym again. And I noticed my brother limping. "Bro, you haven't went and gotten that leg checked out soon? Man, you got a wife and 3 kids. You got to take care of your health." "Well, yeah, I know, bro, but right now I don't have health insurance. And plus, I hate going to the doctor. I don't know how to swallow pills, man, and that can be embarrassing." I get what you're saying, but look, I'm going to look up some urgent cares. Let's run over there just to make sure everything's okay. We got in the car and started to head down the expressway when my brother got a call from his wife. And it looked to be serious. So I'm thinking, I hope everything is okay. Is the house on fire? He hung up the phone and looked over at me and said, "Bro, the urgent care is going to have to wait. The wife wants me to come home and watch Empire." So we went to the house. And Chris started to walk up the stairs when his wife swung open the door and noticed him limping. "Babe, you haven't taken care of that leg yet? Well, after Empire, you going to the emergency room." So we finished watching Empire. And I got in the car, and I just remember feeling so good. My brother was about to go to the doctor to make sure that everything was okay. And we finally arrived at the emergency room. And Chris checked in, and they took him to the back. And there I was, standing at the counter. And the attendant said, "Sir, are you here to be seen?" "Well, you know what? I was having a little chest pain at the gym. Yeah, I'll be seen." They took me to the back and ran a few tests on me. And everything came back good. But since I was having chest pain, they said they'd run one more test. So they set me in a bed next to my brother Christopher. And a little later, I heard his doctor come back. "Mr. Irving, it looks like you've been bit by a bug. Take these antibiotics, and in 3 days, if you don't feel any better, you'll have to come back and see us. We'll have to admit you." Chris grabbed his stuff and headed over to my bedside, and we started to watch some funny Mike Epps videos on YouTube. And then my doctor came back with a really surprised look on her face. She said, Mr. Irving, it's good you came in. The test showed that you have a blood clot in your lungs. But you should feel lucky because the way that most people find out they have a blood clot is that they don't wake up the next day. But get comfortable. You're going to be here for a while. Chris looked over at me and said, hey, bro, you want me to stay here with you? No, Chris, I know you got the wife and kids at home. Go take care of them, and I'll keep you updated. As soon as my brother left, I instantly started having a pity party. God, why me? Oh my God, I had this leadership program to finish. All of these projects. What am I going to do? I just want to live. Oh my God, I got this thing in my body again. I don't want to die. I just remember feeling so frustrated. I was crying. I didn't know what to do. And a few days later, I woke up. And then I thought about everything that I just told you. Being 6 months old and being shot and making it to this age, that's a gift. And I started to get a feeling of gratitude. So I did what I know has always worked. I began to pray. And this time, I even took it to Facebook. And I got an overwhelming response. My boy Brandon, he hit me back and said, hey, prayers going up, bro. And my cousin Tasha, she said, love you, cuz. I'm praying for you. And after about 7 days, the doctors came into my room and said, Mr. Irving, we have good news. We were able to resolve your blood clot, and soon you'll be going home. And I just remember laying there, and I heard my grandfather's voice. Son, your life has purpose, and you have value. And if you live life like it's a gift, the Lord will bless you. And he has. And I pray that the Lord continues to bless all of you. Good night.
Michael Irving, ladies and gentlemen.